Hi, welcome back. We are talking about travel tip Tuesdays tonight. I've got my travel hat on and my boa. So we're going to talk about tips for traveling. We may talk about how to survive a road trip with teenagers, toddlers, parents, grandparents, family, friends. We may talk about how to have the best vacation ever. And we're going to share each other's tips. So you guys just come on in, have fun, take a deep breath, and relax. Spring break is here for some people. It's coming for others. So let's talk about that. And let's just kind of have fun for a while and hang out. Like I said, I've got my hat and it's all going. And I've got my boa, my scarf. Actually, this is a scarf. And there's a story behind it. There's actually a story behind lots of things. But this scarf is made by women at the well, full transition home. The products that they make, those funds go to support the work at the home. And I am a huge fan of Women at the Well and all that they do. You know, it's just one of those places that makes the world better off. And let me pull this down. Hey, we've already got some people in here tonight. You guys hurried. We have Tanya Lambert and we have Philip Riggins. He says, pretty cool. Thanks for the video. Tanya says hi, and she says she's got her surgery date set, which is awesome. And of course, Tanya's got some traveling facing her soon, which is really cool too. So she's going to be well for the travel. We're all planning on that. And Philip is we're glad to see you. So you guys just sit back and have fun. We've got a lot of things to talk about tonight. Let me remind you, because I usually forget, if you would just go ahead and click like and give me a big like on the live stream, that would be really helpful. Because we always want to do that. And I have this terrible tendency to forget. So, and Tanya says, yes, need tips on travel with a new service dog. We've got some of those tips. Absolutely do. One of the things about traveling with a service dog, thank you, Tanya. Tanya liked the video, and I appreciate that. One of the things about traveling with a service dog is to plan on taking the trip a little slower than you normally would. Now, if you're used to traveling with pets, then you already know that you have to take it a little slower anyway. But even, I would suggest even allowing an extra bit of time beyond what you normally do when you do travel with a pet, because you don't know each other yet. And so when you're traveling with a service dog, it's really important to get that bonding. But it's also, with any pet, nobody likes to be cooped up in the car for too long. And it's even more important when you have an animal with you to be able to get the animal out and let them run and let them play. Rest areas are your best friend. They always have the pet walk areas, so take advantage of those. Now, I did see one place in, I think it was South Dakota, on my trip last summer. They didn't really have a pet walk area per se. They had a small fenced-in pet relief area. And when I say small, I'm talking about maybe an 8 by 10 little fenced-in, essentially what we would think of as a kennel. But I was still able to walk him a little bit, but just not in that necessarily designated pet area. You always want to also make sure you have more plastic bags that you think you're going to need. I also like Ziploc bags. Love them. Those are like my go-to travel tip for like everything. Ziploc bags can be used when it comes to service dog to pick up poop if you need to and you don't have another plastic bag available. The Ziploc bags can do duty for that. But they can also do duty for any kind of ripped bags for treats or food, anything you might have that the bag might accidentally rip on. Also double duty if you go to have the can opener and you use canned dog food, just to keep that can opener in, keep it a little cleaner, rinse it off, put it in the Ziploc bag. Keep your dog toys in it. I always like the Ziploc bags. I'm like a total Ziploc bag fanatic for any trip, whether I have Tomlin or not, because it just makes that much more sense because they make life easier. It's one of those things where you may not use it on a trip at all, and then you may wind up using a whole box full. So those would be that. I think I've mentioned collapsible water bowls before. I love mine. They are wonderful. I would actually have an extra one of those. At one time for Tomlin, we had 3 collapsible water bowls, and I've already lost 2 of them. So an extra one never hurts. So honestly, just bring a little bit extra than what you think you're going to need. So yeah, that would be my trips for service dog. I see we have somebody else watching. Hi, welcome. Go ahead and come on in the chat. Have some fun. Relax for a little while. And Tanya says, where I have 2. Excellent. Keep the 2 bowls. Go for it. I think that's a great idea. Oh, and I call this Travel Tuesday live stream road trips and rabbit trails because we're going to talk about road trips. But as the conversation goes, we may talk about some bunny rabbits too and go down rabbit trails and just wherever the conversation leads. And of course, Tanya, make sure that when you look at your route, kind of when I'm traveling with Tomlin, something that I do that helps is kind of plan out on the map about every 2 hours and figure out where I can stop that's close to that. If you have an atlas, it will tell you where the rest areas are. I use my atlas a lot for that. You can also you may be able to look it up online for like Google, and there's some websites that have rest areas along pick a state or pick an interstate. That can help you find places that you can stop so you can plan on it. That makes life a little easier too. Also, truck stops have oftentimes, they're starting to get more and more of the pet walk areas. I think it's Travel America, those that have the iron skillet. I've had great luck there with both pet walks and never had an accessibility issue with Tomlin at all. And Tanya says, Mom plans that before we go. I am low vision. There you go. The main thing is just to plan and have those avenues, if you will, because that way when you get to the rest area, you may feel like you need to get out of the car for a minute, and the dog may whine, but then you'll know on your trip that, like, okay, I've got a rest area 30 miles away. We need to find, a truck stop or someplace, even McDonald's, as long as you pick up after yourself. That you need to find a place to stop. Or, you'll know that, hey, I've got one within the next mile or so. So it just helps make life easier. So plan. But also, always give yourself some flexibility. I mean, you're on a trip. Don't feel like you have to schedule so much. that you become a slave to the schedule or a slave to certain stopping places. Allow yourself some flexibility within that schedule or within that planned route. So if you see something and you want to get out and see it with your dog, go ahead and allow for time to do that, okay? Don't be very rigid, because that takes, allowing yourself to be flexible takes a lot of the stress off the trip. So that may help. So, and yeah. So yeah, you want to make sure you do that. So what else have we got going on here? Okay, I thought I got a flash on a tweet. Oh, that was a flash on Facebook. Okay, the Facebook message is from a friend of mine saying she can't make it in. So, okay. Well, thank you anyway, Betsy. I appreciate you contacting me and letting me know, because we talked about you being here. So, I think she doesn't want me to worry, which is cool. Okay. And Tanya says it should help a bunch. I hope so, Tanya. I hope so, because the goal is for you to have a great trip. And hey, we have Rusty Faith here. Hi, Rusty. How are you? I hope you're having a good night, Rusty. So I saw your video on the music tag. That was a good one. Yeah, I enjoy Rusty's channel. Rusty's not talking. He must have his hands full tonight. And Rusty, I also noticed that you're at around 3,000 followers, or subs, so congratulations on that. And Tanya says that surgery is April 9, so getting fully healed, back to eating a more normal meal will be cutting it close. And she also says, hi, Rusty. And Tanya, that can give you something else to plan for. It sounds like you're going to have a lot of things to take into consideration for the trip. That's going to make it that much more important to be flexible. Now, I don't know about, how your eating is and what you're going to be able to eat, but I know that with us, just because of the blood sugar issues, we always make sure we have snacks. That way, if we get hungry or if we need something to eat and we are nowhere near a place to stop, we'll have something. Also, for us, the other big thing it does to have snacks is that it keeps us on our schedule as far as medication and eating and those kinds of routines. So that way, we don't have to worry about getting off balance with our meds, basically. So you may want to have some talks with your physician on what that might look like for you before you go, since, as you said, you're going to be cutting it close. So that might help. Awesome. I'm just looking here. I had some notes to talk about. And of course, now that I want to, I can't access my notes. So anyway, sorry about that. It'll come to me in a minute. Adjust my hat here. So those are the big things about traveling, I think, with a new service dog. Also, for you guys who are traveling with pets, things for you to keep in mind as well. And if you've got any suggestions, either for now or after this video goes live, please do go ahead and leave those suggestions. Okay. And Tanya says, we plan to bring a cooler with some food and stuff. Excellent idea. Absolutely excellent. Because that'll do a couple of things for you too that will help cut your cost as well as keeping you on schedule. So it's a big thing. And there we go. Okay. A question. I don't know why you're tweeting this, but okay, Glenda, stop tweeting. Come in and join us. Don't wait for the live stream. It's a lot more fun to come in when it's live. But Glenda is asking about surviving a road trip. If I've ever gone on a road trip with grandparents. My husband is in the other room chuckling. Why, yes, Glenda, actually, I have. Surviving that road trip was interesting. I'm not 100% sure that my kids have forgiven me for that road trip. But in fact, let me see if I can text my daughter and remind her that I'm live. She may be at work. If not, she might want to join in and have her comments on this one. I'm going to voice text. Hey, Glenda just asked about travel with grandparents, period. Specifically about our experience, period. I thought you might want to chime in, period. Love you. So hang on just a second, Glenda. Okay. All right. There's a story behind this, as you may have guessed. First of all, let me say, Glenda, that a road trip with a grandparent is survivable, okay? Don't give up on that, no matter how crazy it might be on the trip. That would be my number one thing. Have some good self-care options in place. Bring a book, soothing music, whatever will help you de-stress, okay? Because a grandparent schedule may be very different to the one that you're used to keeping, especially if you have kids. I actually took a few trips with my grandmother when she was older with my kids, and I can tell you from experience, patience is a virtue. Also, just remember the trips are survivable. Some of what I just told Tanya about traveling with a new service dog is going to apply to grandparents. Watch your schedule. Plan your activities. When you're doing a multi-generational trip, which is what it is with grandparents, that implies also that you're going to have the grandkids with you. Try to find things that all ages can do. If they don't like doing the same thing, pick out some activities that you can use to bribe each other with. It's so helpful to do that. One of the things that we found out was I'm a huge national park buff. My grandmother wanted to see a national park, and my kids usually enjoy it. On this trip, there were moments when nobody enjoyed it, okay? And that was because of the difference in schedules, the difference in needs. Take all of that into account before you go. We had the opportunity, my grandmother wanted to go to the Grand Canyon had planned a trip with my grandfather, but unfortunately, he passed away in July before they could go in September. So flash forward a few years down the road, and school has been delayed in starting for my kids. All of the middle schools were down for construction. Why anybody ever thought that would be a brilliant idea, who knows? But we had time suddenly in our schedule that we could go and take a trip. So we drove from East Tennessee out to the Grand Canyon. She also wanted to see a family member in Phoenix. Then we came south across the lower part of the U.S., across I-10, and came up through Mississippi, and then back up to Tennessee, and then the kids and I went back home to North Carolina. Hey, Stellar, welcome to the party. Woo! Okay, this is my daughter. I know she's going to want to chime in some. So, Glenda, if you're watching, join us in the chat. And don't forget to give me a big like, a big thumbs up. So, and Stellar, don't forget to give me a big like and a thumbs up. Out you here. So, there you go. So, we had the opportunity to give her this trip that she had planned with my grandfather. And I had grand and glorious dreams about how wonderful it was going to be and all the great memories that my kids were going to make by traveling with their great grandmother. Yay! I had visions of the Hallelujah chorus playing in the background, the clouds parting, and happy moments. It just didn't work out that way, literally or figuratively. We got in a car, we drove out west. I had asked my grandmother, and we were covering all the expenses, okay? The one thing that I asked her to do was to go to the doctor ahead of time and get her prescriptions handwritten, because she was not using a national pharmacy. She was using a small local pharmacy. So I asked her, please get the prescriptions. We were going to be gone for a few weeks. I knew she was going to need to get them filled. Well, she didn't. So we wound up on this trip, running around, trying to find a pharmacy that could call her pharmacy that could refill the medicine, except we also found out that one of the medicines that she had to have filled, of course, was out of refills, which means this pharmacy called that pharmacy, which called her doctor, which was supposed to call the pharmacy back where we were, who called the local pharmacy instead, authorized it. Let me tell you, it was a mess. And let's see, Stellar Piper says, and we did make some great memories, just not the ones anyone expected. My daughter has the gift of understatement, but that was definitely a road trip to remember. Also, vary those activities. We wound up getting out to the Grand Canyon, and it thunderstormed. There was a tornado. It hailed so much the ground turned white. We could not do a thing. So then I'm in the hotel room with two kids who can't go to the pool, a grandmother who just wants peace and quiet. At the same time, my kids just wanted to be rowdy and play because they've been kept inside too long. So, oh, hey, lovely kid from Japan has just joined us. Hey, Tina. Woo! It is good to see you. Stellar Tina, lovely kid Japan. She hails from Japan. So, but yeah, so Glenda, plan on activities that everybody can enjoy. Bring your books, bring your soft music, so when things get real stressful, you can also take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you're not taking care of anybody, okay? Plan your stops. Generally, don't marry yourself so much to the schedule that you don't allow for some spontaneity. take advantage of rest areas, let the kids run and play. You know, one of the best things that we took for kids, I think, and Stellar can back me up, was Bubbles. Hey, Herfords is in the house. Welcome. So, Bubbles worked good at rest areas because the kids could blow them, run and chase them. They wouldn't take up much space in the car. Toss them in one of the Ziploc bags that I always have with me. We just talked about that. And, you know, then you don't have to worry about spills. It's nice, compact, does great in the car. Just make sure they're not so close to cars that they'll pop. Stellar Piper says, and you might need a baby screen. Yes. With my grandmother, she did not like too much light coming into the vehicle. Now, did she tell me this before I had the sunroof cut into the car? No. So, she wound up wearing a hat with a floppier brim than mine. I wear it just to be fun and silly, and same thing with my boas. She wound up wearing the hat, sunglasses. I had to put a baby shade up on the sunroof. I had to put a baby shade on the passenger window. It was insane. But that's what it took to make her happy. And you have to make your grandmother happy, because if you don't, everybody's going to be miserable. Snacks, maybe a little personal fan, if that's needed, for either the back of the car or the front of the car where the grandmother is. Snack schedule, activities. We went to primarily museums and zoos, national parks. We stopped by the Painted Desert, and we did the Grand Canyon. Even in those locations, like when we went to the Grand Canyon, we went back. Of course, day one we went, and we had to leave early because of the tornado. We went back the next day. And activities that I thought everyone would be interested in, they weren't all interested in, because they had this movie. My kids were interested in the movie. My grandmother wasn't. My grandmother wanted to go to the car. My kids wanted to go look at some ruins. So balancing that out, researching and knowing what some of the options were before going was huge. Stellar Piper has reminded me about orange juice. Orange juice was good, actually a pretty big necessity with my grandmother. She had diabetes. And the thing about it is, she would not tell me when her blood sugar was dropping until she was to the point of getting sick. We had to use orange juice several times to get that blood sugar up in a hurry before we could get out the snacks or go to a restaurant. Also, snacks, there may be a difference in the snacks that your kids will eat versus the snacks that your grandmother will eat. So talk to everyone ahead of time. You know, you have a pretty good idea what your kids are going to eat, but that doesn't mean you have a pretty good idea what your grandmother's going to eat. Try to plan snacks for both. That is the biggest thing I think I can tell you, in addition to researching your schedule and looking at your stops. And let's see. Stellar Piper says we play the alphabet game, which we did. We did the alphabet game. We did the license plate game. You name it, we played it. How many blue cars? We did that too. Lovely Kid Japan says, Stellar here also in Japanese. Stellar Piper says, pack anything that anyone in the party considers to their life. Yes. If grandmother wants a special pillow, don't leave home without it. If your child wants a special pillow or a stuffed animal or a stuffed or a special game or a special blanket, Bring them because you will want them. Tanya Lambert is also saying, how many with one headlight? Yes, another great car game. And Stellar Piper says, essential to their life, I can't type. That's okay, Stellar. We got you. And just a reminder, everybody, please give me a big thumbs up on the video, because I really appreciate that. Stellar, what else can you think of? And this was from Glenda. She watches my channel and she's sent in questions before. So she was wanting to know about grandparent travel and what to pack. Lovely Kid Japan has a superb idea. She says we're always bringing karaoke book with a little mic. Playlist. That brings me to playlist. The kids and I took the vacation with my grandmother prior to playlists being so accessible, but we did bring some sing-along tapes. Those were great. And Stellar says, one great game is the Find the Zoo game in Dallas. It takes all day. Yes, Stellar is referring to the time when I got magnificently lost in Dallas. It did take us all day to find the zoo. We wound up actually, I think, we wound up in Fort Worth and then back in Dallas and then back to Fort Worth and then back to Dallas or something crazy. Yeah, it took 2 days to find the zoo, which honestly is the story of my life, for us to look for things and take longer than it should to find them. Now that GPS is available, use it. Use maps. Don't try to rely just on street signs. Don't try to rely just on directions from people. Tanya said, you lost. Oh, yeah. Big time. Stella Piper says, I pretty much always pack a book or 6. True, she does that. And Tanya, you would not believe how magnificently we got lost. And I will tell you, the thing about getting directions from locals can be fabulous to help you out when you need directions. The problem is that they know exactly where they are going. So if they tell you to turn right at the red house, it might have been red 10 years ago and turned blue in the meantime. That's the challenge that sometimes you have with directions from locals, but they can be great. You know, Stellar Piper, the other time that we got lost really magnificently was in Anchorage. The first time we went, we were looking for the airport. And Lovely Kid Japan says, we're always bringing a map to show Leo where we start, where we are going. Great to learn through experience. Absolutely. That gives them a better idea with geography, too. And Tanya Lambert says, I love audible.com books. Those are awesome. Absolutely awesome. And we have 5 people watching now. Thank you. Don't forget, come on into the chat. Give me a great big like, thumbs up. We are glad to have you. But yes, audible.com books are great when you're traveling. We used to do, and I think you can still do it, where if you don't have audible.com, I think the Cracker Barrels will rent books. Cracker Barrels are great. But here's the thing about Cracker Barrels. They're only really pretty much on the southeastern portion of the country, and they are slowly spreading. But like when we just took the trip out west, we saw very few Cracker Barrels. So if you rely on Cracker Barrels to rent books from, you may be kind of surprised. And over 50 and Fantabulous is in the house. Hey, welcome. You'll appreciate the fun, Boa. Just have fun with life. And this was made, I said at the beginning of the video, this was actually made by a women's transition home here locally called Women at the Well. I think it's thewomenatthewell.com. Awesome people. They're like my heroes. And Stellar Piper says, lovely. She's talking to Lovely Kid Japan. Lovely, my sister was homeschooled. Mom tried to teach her how to read a map for geography. It did not go spectacularly well. No, it didn't. But with the trips, she was much more interested in the geography part of her lessons because of the trips. So I was able to build that into her homeschooling curriculum for the geography part. It was a great motivator. So Antonia Lambert is saying hi 50, hi over 50. Ooh, Stellar Piper is saying they still have audiobooks though. Also, Stellar Piper says, also the Cracker Barrel may randomly decide that hot sauce goes in chicken and dumplings. I don't remember that, Stellar. Help me out. Lovely Kid Japan says, Stella, my son is a homeschooler also. Well, till April. I'm always printing maps and making red road towns stops. It works sometimes. It's fun. Yeah. I didn't realize you were homeschooling. Homeschooling is awesome. I did it for my daughter during her middle school years. My older daughter that's in here, Stellar Piper, abjectly refused. But she played the music. She wanted to be in the band because she was concerned it was not going to help her when she went to college if she was homeschooled at all. So she had a reason. Stellar Piper says, New Mexico Cracker Barrel. Okay, slowly that's coming back to me. Yes. And that the other time that we were at the New Mexico Cracker Barrel was when I had a terrible salad and we had to send it back. It was the first time I've ever returned a salad. But they were good to fix it, to replace it. Stellar Piper says, not me, I refused. Yes, she did. She refused in a big way. But homeschooling, I loved it because I could build so many things in with homeschooling. I can remember with my younger daughter, of course, trust me to think out of the box, trust me to enjoy travel. We were studying about Roanoke Island. It was in that portion of her history book. So we're living in North Carolina at the time. So I said, let's go to Roanoke Island. So by golly, the next day my daughter had off from school and my husband had the day off from work. We took off and we went to Roanoke Island. So we do the activities there at the park. There's a national park there. We did those activities. We went through the museum. We watched the film strip. We get back home and Samantha is now looking at her history book and she's having to fill out the little quiz in the back, the chapter questions. And she said, true story, but we didn't really study any of this. True story. I almost didn't survive her homeschooling. Let's see. Lovely Kid Japan. Gayle, Stella, I have to go now. Leo is home. We're going out. Hugs. See you next time. Tina, thank you for coming in. I hope you guys have a great time out. You guys watch her videos because she and her family always has a great time together. Videos are always positive, fun, uplifting. Love her channel. And Tanya says, where'd it go, where'd it go, where'd it go? I lost you, Tanya. Tanya says, when I was homeschooled at home due to my surgery as a child, I always hated it. I'm sorry that you hated it, Tanya. And Stellar Piper is saying, bye, Lovely. So Tanya also, and Lovely Kid Japan is saying thank you and bye, Tanya. Yeah, but do go check her out. Look at her channel if you've not. I think probably, I'm going to guess both my ladies in here probably checked her out. But if you catch this live stream later, go see Tina's channel. Stella, you're going to like the channel too. A lot, because you've got the interest in the Japanese culture. And so she's actually got some videos up where, like, she takes you to a restaurant in Japan, actually a couple of times. Some really fun stuff with your little boys, some of the play places, just some cute things. You'll like it. So, and Tanya, actually, health is why we homeschooled my younger daughter during her middle school years. She had had surgery when she was a baby on her stomach, and then we had a great elementary school that would work with her, but in Tennessee. But I had homeschooled her then because she had had some surgery on her throat. We got to North Carolina, and it was a real problem to keep up with her attendance. Her grades were great, but her attendance was rocky. So even though she was on 80 honor roll, they were going to have to get a waiver for her to go to the next grade. And I was just like, the heck with this. So I applied to homeschool, and we were approved. I'm not sure she could have gotten through her middle school years going for constant waivers. It just took a lot of the stress off. Except because you learn differently when you're homeschooled. She didn't realize some of the time that she had learned. Stella Piper says she was sick all the time. Yes, she was. But she's better now. I mean, we got her married off, and she's, happy, having a husband, farm, everything. So we're going to go see her. Legitimately sick, not sick. Yes, Stella Piper, she was. Yeah. Some of the videos that I've got from having been to New Mexico previously have her in it. Especially one of the ones with probably my favorite is White Sands, New Mexico, where I get to slide down this huge sandbank, and she helps me. So that was fun. That was much more recent, though, than her being a kid. What else we got? Tanya says, I've had 3 different surgeries as a child and had to have a teacher come those times stuck in bed or chairs. I get you. I'm glad, really, really glad that you're able to get around more and do more now. And Stellar, you're going to love this. Tanya is getting a service dog. I don't know if you knew that from some previous live streams, but she's getting one. Stella Piper says, only my sister would decide to raise ducks in the desert. Well, I think there's a few other people raising them too. But yeah, trust her to think outside the box like that. I don't know where she got it from. The thinking outside the box thing. Says the funny lady in the hat and the boa. Okay, you did. Okay. Stella Piper says, I knew that. Are you excited, Tanya? Yeah. And Tanya says, it's all part of having cerebral palsy. It's okay, Stellar. And yes, Stellar, I think she is happy and excited about getting a service dog. Good. That's something to be excited about. Okay, you guys probably heard my phone there a second ago. Glenda again. She said, by the way, I can't come. I'm going to check your live stream. But I wanted to ask, what are those things behind you? Okay. Glenda, I am not sure what things that you're talking about with what's behind me. Let me see. I've got books and things directly behind me. The China. Oh, I bet I know what you're talking about. Okay. I have this flower pot behind me. If that may be what you're talking about, I'm not sure. So clear me up. You know, when you see this live stream later, clues up. This flower pot behind me is actually part of my heater. I use it in the van when I'm in there by myself. It's actually part of my terracotta flower pot heater. I've got a video on that actually. And what it's sitting on, this piece that it's sitting on right there, is actually the new inverter that we're going to be installing in the van very, very soon. So I have, you know, all this back here is lots of books. Oh, I do have some jewelry findings back there. And you may be interested in that, Glenda, because I know you do jewelry too. But terracotta heater pot right there, and the new inverter for the van right there. That inverter, I'm super stoked about it. Super stoked. We are waiting for me to get to another payday, and then we're getting a larger battery for the van to expand our battery bank capability. And so when we do that, this inverter is going to go in it, and we will have the capability to run several things in the van that we can't now, such as some lightweight power tools, maybe the ice machine. I am so hoping for this ice machine, like you have no idea, because that's going to be a great thing to help us save money on the road, because sometimes I use coolers and buying ice can be stupidly expensive. So, like, we were in Nowhereville, Alaska, so we were just doing good to get ice, but they wanted $6 for this little bitty bag. So I'm like, the heck with that. So I got an ice machine, one of those table models, which I probably need to do a review on it, because I know you're going to ask, Glenda. But it's been great, but I have to have a larger inverter to run it, other than when we've got shore power and stuff for the van. So that's what that's going to be. And we'll talk about that more after we get installed. So there you go. If I missed your answer, send me an email later and let me know. And let's see. Going back in here, I think I missed some things while I was talking about. I did miss some things. Okay. Wow, I missed a lot of things. Let me scroll down. The crunching you hear is courtesy of Tomlin, by the way. Okay. And Tony's saying, very excited. I have my service dog in June and my weight loss surgery coming in April. Yippee! Which is awesome. And Stellar Piper says, a service puppy in training came to work today. He's going to be a great dog. Aww. Tony Lambert says, I have had 12 or more different types of surgeries over the years, so I'm used to it by now. I'm really impressed by your outlook at this coming up surgery. I got to tell you that. And Stella Piper says, not sure if I told you this, Tanya, but a seminary friend of mine had weight loss surgery and said it basically changed her life for the better. And Tanya says, that's so great. I'm glad for her. Yeah, I remember her talking about that now, Stellar. And she said it did. So that's great. I also found out the other night that another friend of mine had it too, and she raved about it being a good thing. So lots of good positive things. And Stellar Piper says, I'm excited for your service dog. That's going to be great. I'll second that one and third it. And Stellar Piper likes dogs. And I'm still just a little bit jealous of her for what she got to do one time. We were on a trip and we were in Alaska, and somebody whose daughter has the same kind of epilepsy that my daughter has came, and we all hit it off. So she came to the mission site and asked if my daughter would like to go with her and pet sled dogs. So she got to pet sled dog puppies, and I've been jealous of that ever since. And Tanya says, it's been changing a lot of people's lives going back to the surgery. Yeah, it has. I've heard a lot of good things about it. And Tanya says, I can't wait to meet him or her. I'm excited for you. I can't wait to see the video of you meeting him or her. That's going to be so exciting. And Tanya Lambert said, oh, how neat. Yeah, but you can see why I'm jealous of her. But it was also, I got to tell you, it was so great to meet somebody whose daughter had the same kind of epilepsy. I mean, I'm sorry that she had it, but she also had a service dog. I mean, how cool is that? You know, she has a service dog, the epilepsy, and she likes sled dog puppies enough to take her to go meet them. So it was a good experience. But I haven't gone to pet sled dog puppies yet. So I'm going to make another trip to Alaska in 2019. Maybe this will be my time to pet the sled dog puppies. I hope so anyway. And Stellar Piper says, it was pretty neat. Add it to the places to visit in Willowmont. You better believe it's on my list. And Tanya Lambert says, there you go. Go back. Absolutely. And Stellar Piper says, just don't ask me for directions. Don't worry. We won't. Although, I do have to say, Stellar Piper did do a good job navigating. Bless her heart, brave soul. First time I drove up to Alaska, she drove with me. We got so lost in Anchorage, we could not find the airport. There was 2 airports in Anchorage on the map. One, which we didn't know, was an airport for small planes, bush planes, and so forth. The other was the international airport. The international airport, for whatever reason, was not the one that's on the map. So we couldn't find it. We couldn't follow the signs to find it. I mean, like, we were so far in the weeds, we didn't even know we were in the field. So finally, I tell my daughter, I'm like, go to McDonald's, ask for directions, because we've been like driving around Anchorage like it seemed like forever. It really wasn't that bad, but it seems like it. So finally, like after the second stop for directions, we finally got somebody who could give us accurate directions. And they said, go down the street, turn left, stop when you run into the water. We could follow those directions. And yes, Stellar Piper says, in my defense, the one we needed wasn't on the map we had, which is true. Why not put the international airport on the map? They fixed it. But what kind of no-brainer thing is that? I mean, that's just something you should include on the map. And Tanya Lambert says, I'm not good with directions, and neither is Mom, so I hope we don't get lost. Well, part of it's just our crazy luck and our crazy adventures. You know, GPS is a wonderful thing. It doesn't always work in Alaska. There was a few years ago, it also didn't work on the Gulf Coast. But, you know, it's one of those things you live, you laugh, and you just move on. And when you do revisit those moments, you just laugh at them some more. And Stellar Piper says, the cashier at the Anchorage McDonald's gave great directions. Yes, that would be the one who was like, turn left, stop when you hit the water. And at that point, by the time we saw that there was no place to go but left or right because the ocean was right in front of us, there was this big sign telling us which way to turn. Stellar Piper says, I recommend Waze, it'll find you. Yes, I like it too. It's probably my favorite travel app is Waze, hands down. That's something you may want to look into, Tanya. It's free and it's Google-based. But one of the things that Waze does that other programs don't, at least the ones that I've seen, is it tells you about traffic slowdowns audibly, which really helps me a lot. Also, it tells you that if there's road construction coming up or a car is off on the side, or if there's a police officer checking radar. I love this app. And it has probably saved me untold hours of headaches from congestions. It's also easy to, you know, click the buttons and get an alternative route on Waze. I think that's easier than, like, say, Google Maps. Definitely my favorite GPS, hands down. Would you say it's your favorite, Stellar Piper? I know you've got one I think you pay a subscription for. Give her a second to answer here. Okay, my computer just wigged out. Hold on. Come back, come back. Okay, that was a temporary wig out. We're good. Okay. And Stellar Piper says free works well real time, traffic and construction and whatever, and it talks to you. Yes. And Tanya Lambert says great that it's free as well. Yeah, absolutely. Not every free app out there is great, but this one definitely, like I said, hands down my favorite. Stella Piper says, we have a Dash GPS too, but it needs to be updated. No subscription for us. Okay. Amber and John Homestead Project is here. Hey, Amber. Welcome. I've not seen Amber in a little while here. And Tanya, I think you and Amber have talked before. Stellar, I know that you and Amber have talked before on the chat. So, Amber, it's good to see you. Did you survive the storms? Did they miss you? And Tanya and Stellar saying hello. Oh, somebody wants to go through the door. Hang on just a second. John, this is where I see if I can get my husband's attention. John.
Yes, dear.
Somebody wants to go through the door.
Oh, okay.
I heard the bell. Good bells, Tomlin. Tomlin is trained so that when he wants to go through the door, he clicks the bell, dings the bells. And so that was the sound that you just heard.
Good bells. Good bells.
So let's say Amber and John Homestead Project says, how's everyone doing? I'm also cooking chicken, mashed potatoes, and green beans.
Don't tell me Amber John said hi.
And Amber, my husband, says hi to your husband too. Oh, good news. She said that the storms did miss us. I am so glad for that. And she says, hi, Tanya. And Tanya says, yummy. And Stellar says, Amber, you want to make dinner at my house? That sounds good. So it sounds delicious. John says, hi back. Awesome. And Stellar says, glad the storms missed you. Absolutely.
Tell Stellar Pepper I said hi.
And Stellar, Dad says hi. No, I'm really glad. We've had some humdinger storms. And I don't know if you know, you probably saw it may have seen it on Facebook. We had a tornado over here not long ago, a few days ago, but we missed it. Okay. And for those of you who don't know, or those of you who listen later and don't know, my group on Facebook, it's facebook.com/groups/Gayle Vlogs, GAYLE VLOGS. A friend of mine asked about the solar setup we have, and Amber and John are like these solar experts, hands down. And so they're commenting on it. So we're all trying to help her out as far as the solar goes. So if you're interested in solar, or if you have some expertise you want to toss in on the conversation, then hop on over to the Facebook group and join us. Or if you just want to hang out and have fun. Amber says, tornadoes scare me. Absolutely. And Tanya says, aw, family togetherness. Yeah, we like that. And Amber says, sure, Stella. So that's cool. Stellar says, I totally understand about tornadoes. I feel so much better chasing them than catching them. Or getting caught by them, actually. Yeah. And she's referring to some times when we used to chase. Just to make life interesting. Yeah. But yeah. It also helps, if you travel a lot, I'll tell you, the National Weather Service has classes. They call them Skywarn classes, and they're free. And that helps you learn what kind of cloud formations to look like and what the clouds look like when they're spawning the tornadoes and the funnel clouds and severe weather. That, for me, was a huge help in lessening my anxiety, because then I could look at the sky and know, okay, this is not anything to worry about, or it would confirm that, yes, it is something to worry about. So Tanya says, I will watch them in movies. Movies are good. Amber says, I've seen a couple of tornadoes develop in front of me before. Yet those are kind of scary. Very, very scary. We had a situation on our carport. I was taking Stellar to work, and the sky turned this kind of sickly green. And I came in and I got the camera just as this funnel kind of appeared. And then it was gone in just a few seconds. We didn't even have time to react much, but I could tell the storm had just passed and was going away from us, and you could see the clouds in the sky. So I told Stellar, I said, go ahead and get in the car. I'll go ahead and take you to work. And then we got in the car. I put it in reverse, and there was this loud boom. I couldn't figure out what it was for a few seconds. And I'm looking at the end of the nose of my car. And then Stellar was looking at the carport. And what had happened was the roof had just lifted up on the carport enough to release that center support post. And as it came down, it clunked on the front end of my car. So I had like a little dent from it, but not bad. And by this time, you know, a few minutes after that, it cleared up enough that she was able to go to work because the storm was moving pretty quickly. And Stellar says, yeah, that's a good time to go inside and pray. Yeah, if a tornado comes down in front of you, that's what you got to do. But now, Amber, you're in actually a little bit of a worse area, I think, than we are when it comes to storms. I mean, we get them, but it seems like there's more of the tornadoes in like the North Georgia area. We're at that northern tip of Dixie Alley, but you're a little more closer into it than we are. Not fun. Honestly, I should mention, and Tanya, you may want to think about it, a weather radio for going on trips is really helpful. You can get them that you program into a certain area, wherever you're going to be. I have just a little walkie-talkie that's not walkie-talkie. It's walkie-talkie size. And it's about like that tall and about that wide, maybe about an inch thick. And I've had it for several years, but it gets the weather reports that are great. So if I'm not sure about what's going on, I don't have to worry about looking at my phone. I can just reach over and turn on the weather radio because it can get a signal when my phone can't. So, and they even make them now. They've even got them with flashlights built in, which is nice. And Amber is saying, yes, this area gets hit with more bad weather. Yes, I think so too. And I'm sorry. And Tanya says, yes, we don't have one. I really like it. And that's one of those things, it's like a car care kit that you just get used to having and you don't even think about it. So I should have mentioned that earlier. See, I'm trying to think real quick if there's any other piece of equipment for travel that I use, and I really don't. If it is, it's so ingrained that I can't think of it. But, oh, the CBs. I have the CB. Stellar says we have a crank one with the flashlight built in. I've looked at those, but I haven't picked one up yet. Hey, Drive Shaft Drew just joined us. Hi, Drive Shaft. It is good to see you. Drive Shaft doesn't get a chance to come to many of my live streams because he's usually over there streaming. Oh, Tanya, I guess you're leaving. She says, good night, sleep tight. Good night to you too. And Stellar, you'll be happy to know too that Drive Shaft has a Malamute at his house. And Amber says, only place we're going to be able to travel is to my aunt's this summer for the 4th of July. But that's still pretty awesome. I mean, to get to go anywhere, I think, is awesome. And she says, Drew, my stalker. Uh-oh. And Stellar says, it came with a husband when I married him. Okay, so you got a husband and you got a free weather radio. Not a bad deal. And Drive Shaft Drew is saying hello, and Stellar is saying hello also. That's cool. I'm glad you got to come in, Drive Shaft. I'm excited. Yay! Now, Stellar, another thing about Drive Shaft Drew's channel is the dog is so sweet. And he's done some cooking videos too on the grill. Would you believe, Drive Shaft, that this girl does not have a grill? I don't know how she survives. And Brad Rushton says, hi from England. Hi, Brad. Welcome. You're a new face, and we welcome you. Just, hey, y'all, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, okay? Give me that big thumbs up. Help me out. And Amber and John Homesteads Project says, my husband is talking about getting a husky sometime in the future. They're awesome. They can be hard to train, though, and they rule the roost when you get one. And Stellar says, look, we don't have a place to use it. Aw. Still think you need one. If nothing else, for emergencies, because, like, we get tornadoes here, Amber gets them, but you get snow. Not as much snow as Drive Shaft, but you get some snow. Brad says it's 2 in the morning there. Wow. You're up late, and we thank you for being up late with us. Stellar says, Huskies are great dogs. They are not beginner dogs. No, they're not. Somebody just gave me a like. Thank you for the like. Yeah, Huskies really do rule the roost. Drive Chef says, Stellar Piper, I agree. But now, Amber, have you guys had some dogs before in your lives, pets growing up? If so, then you've already got some experience. Just realize that a husky needs a firm hand. And I guess the same thing about Malamutes, Drew. Brad, do you have many huskies in England? One thing about Amber is one warning, if you get a husky, they really are little escape. Well, I can't say little, but they are really escape artists. And Amber says, we grew up with lots of dogs and trained dogs. There you go. You're in good shape then. And Drew says, it's like having a 10-year-old kid, LOL. I agree. They even mouth off. Stellar says, also be prepared for dog hair in every imaginable place. I found a Tomlin hair in with my clean dishes the other day. Oh, he loves you, Stellar. It's a magical fiber of love. Anybody who's ever had a husky can tell you you'll have lots of magical fibers. That's why those gloves are so amazing. Drew, do you use one of the gloves that it's rubberized and it's got the little well, it's designed for dogs that shed a lot. It's a grooming glove. We love ours. And Drew, I sent you a postcard quite some time back. Did you get that? Drew says, have one but prefer the brush. Okay. And Stellar says, Brad, are you a dog person? I didn't have that much luck with the brush. You may have a different one. Mine didn't do so well. It did okay on the top coat, but it didn't really pull that undercoat out. Okay, I missed it. I'll go back and look for it. Drew said, yes, I believe I did a mail call for it. Awesome. I'll go back and look for it. I just missed it then. Probably when I was out traveling. Amber says, yummies. Oh, absolutely. Now, Amber, you're on solar. Do you do a lot of your cooking on gas, or do you do the solar with the burners and stuff, the electric burners? Drive Shaft Drew says the brush we got was designed for horses. That would be the difference. I didn't think about getting a horse brush. That would be a brilliant idea. And Amber says, yes, I use gas. Okay. The reason I was asking, I was talking to somebody about gas stoves the other day. And they were talking about how hard it was to find one in this area. And then she says, in the daytime, we use electric. Makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Hey, Amber, I've got a new inverter to go in the van. I'm so excited. It's a bigger one. And she says, for breakfast and lunch, we use electric. There you go. Amber and John are off grid, by the way. Let me just kind of toss that out there. If you need to know anything at all about solar, they are like the go-to people to talk to. And Stellar says, LOL, speaking of things designed for horses, my sister showed me the wonders of using a hoof pick to get mud out of boots. It works really well. Interesting. That makes sense, though. Amber says, what did Amber say? I lost it. Don't bump the mouse. Okay, here we go. Amber says, if our battery bank wasn't so old, we would use electric all the time. Yeah, I guess they do wear out after a while. We're fixing to upgrade our battery from what we've got to a little bit bigger one. Looking forward to it coming in. I'm hoping it will hurry. It didn't, it's coming from Amazon, but it's not Amazon Prime. So I don't know how long it's going to take it to get here. I've actually got the inverter sitting back here behind me. That's right over there. My new inverter, right there, with a bottle of whatever in front of it. It's got my heater sitting on top of it. Stellar says, when is it supposed to arrive? It gave me a range of dates for like 7 to 10 days, but I'm hoping it gets here before then. And Amber says, we found some awesome batteries. They're called V-tanks. They last longer and charge faster. That's great. I'll have to look at those. The one I've ordered is, I'll have to pull that up on Amazon. I forgot the name of it now. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. I want to get where we have a fair amount of juice in the van. But one battery at a time. It gets expensive being off-grid. And we just want enough for the van. Okay, my cell phone is taking forever. So I'll look it up. And now that I say that, it starts to come in. And let's see, Amber says, they're great for beginners. They sell the V-tanks on eBay. And Stellar says, oh, sweet. Yeah. You know, one thing that we're at a disadvantage that Drive Shafter has that we don't have down here, and that's Canada Tire. I so wish that we had that store here. Amber, you would love it. I swear you could go into the store and spend a year and not see everything. Anything that you can think of that you might need for the car, the home. They've got solar equipment. I love that store. And let's see. Oops. Okay. I'm waiting for it to come in. Can you guys believe another dog was misplaced on an airline? Amber says, Drew, I'm jealous. It's something to be jealous over. I love this store. They tried it, I think, in New York, but it didn't go well because I understand they had trouble finding quality employees. But they are just absolutely, it is the greatest store. Drive Shafter says, yep, but the prices are a bit high on some stuff. Yeah, but I like them because you can find just about whatever you need there. I mean, it's the best way I could describe it, I think, would be if you combine parts of a Walmart, the non-clothing part, and, well, the non-food part and non-clothing, and get rid of all the extra, you know, like haircuts, manicures, all that stuff. Just forget that. But if you combine that with aspects of an auto parts store, with aspects of an RV store, you're getting close. It's like the marriage of all of those things. And Amber, the battery that we're looking at is a 100-hour deep cycle universal battery. Oh, Miss Samantha is here. Hey, Miss Samantha. Miss Samantha does some cool stuff. She live streams and she gives kids a place to play their video games and a safe person to play them with. And Miss Samantha says, hey, Stellar Piper. Mrs. Samantha, Stellar Piper, she's my daughter. So I'm glad that you guys get to meet. She says, just dropping by to like and share. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But her streams are a lot of fun. Even if you don't game, just kind of to hear her getting, you know, into the game and receiving directions from the kids and just enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. And Drive Shaft Drew says, yes, they are well stocked for sure. They really are. I make it a point to go to one every time I'm around one in Canada. And Stellar says, and a little Lowe's thrown in. Yeah. Amber says, hi, Miss Samantha. Miss Samantha says, oh, it's nice to meet you, Stellar Piper. Drive Shaft Drew says, anything for home and garden, automotive and sports, some clothes and shoes and boots is what Canadian Tire carries. Yeah. It's like you could go in and you could just spend forever there. And Mrs. Samantha asked me, nice hat, am I ready for spring? I am like so ready for spring to get here. Bring on spring. I had to go to Knoxville today. It was supposed to be raining, but it actually was sleeting for a minute with the rain. And I'm like, I could not believe that. I was like so frustrated. Didn't last long, but it was there. Which is crazy because what was it? 2 days ago we had hail, John? Yeah, about 2 days ago when the tornado came through, we had hail. And Amber says, Stellar, I love to meet you. And Stellar says, sounds like fun, Amber. And Miss Samantha says, hey, Amber. Yeah. You know, something else about Drew about Canadian Tire is that everybody that works there is like so nice. Of course, that holds true for most of Canada. So helpful, so nice. Stellar says, I wish spring would get here. Instead, we get snow again. Stellar, what are they predicting for snow? Amber says, we found a vendor on eBay. He sells $400 solar panels there, new for $150. 250-watt panels, so we got them hooked up. They're working great so far. That's a fabulous deal. Mrs. Samantha says, I'm looking forward to sunshine. It's been raining 2 to 4 days a week, all fall and winter. Blah. Definitely blah. And Amber says, we drive the 2 hours to pick up the panels, still saving a lot of money. Yeah, because then you don't have to pay the shipping, and you don't have to worry about if shipping got it right or if they messed up and if they broke and whatnot. So, and Amber says he sells more of them. When we get past getting a couple more batteries, I'll ask you for his name and stuff. Or actually, if you want to go ahead and post it in the forum one day, that would be great. Miss Samantha says, that's great, Amber. Nice deal. Good. And Stellar says, reports vary. I've heard 1 to 2 inches, 2 to 4, and 3 to 5. That's not bad. It could be worse. Drive Shaft, how much snow do you have? And Stellar says, that is a nice deal. Amber says, his name is Eric. We are friends with him on Facebook. Okay. I will have to see if I can find him on your Facebook then. Because that's something that we'll look into. But I want to get at least, well, I've got this battery coming, and I think I want to get at least one more if I can. Drive Shaft Drew was saying he has about 1.5 feet. All right. He wins the prize. Thought you might. We must sound pretty whiny to you, Drive Shaft. And Amber says he's on John's Facebook. Okay, then I'll check out his page. And Mrs. Samantha says, oh my goodness, Drive Shaft Drew, you need to move south. I can kind of echo that for her, except people are so nice in Canada. I say this all the time, but it's so true. Like all of our trips back and forth across Canada, I think the only time that I ran into somebody who was not nice was maybe I can think of 2 instances. And considering my trips across, that's really pretty good. Amber says, we meet up at the Publix parking lot. We pick that spot because there are a few things I like to get at Publix. Publix is a good store, but they're a little pricey. I do Aldi's a lot. Stellar Piper says, can we trade Florida for Canada? That sounds good to me, but I don't think Canada's going to approve. And Mrs. Samantha says, is that a flower pot candle heater behind you? Yes, it is indeed. That's the one I used in the van the other day. Well, actually, several times now. It's not one that I would actually use with my husband because there's not really space, but I really like it. So I did a video on it where I showed the temperature outside versus inside the van, and it made a big difference. I really am glad to have it. And Amber says, Drew, I meet up with Gayle in real. Her and her John and us meet up at the Golden Corral 2 times a year. Yep. Except we need to make it like 3 or 4 or 5 times a year, you know, if we could afford it. And Dry Shafter says, could not get me to move. My roots are too deep. LOL. I hear you. Amber says, my supper is yummy. Okay, we're coming. All of us are just going to come right over. We're going to do one of those Star Trek things, and Scotty's just going to beam us over, and we're going to have dinner at Amber and John's. And Drive Shaft Drew says, nice. Mrs. Samantha says, for some reason, I was researching those little heaters a couple of years ago, but I don't remember why. If you were looking for something to like maybe heat, to supplemental heat for like a power outage, you may have been looking for them too. Let me grab it. Of course, you can get whatever size you want. This one's not huge. I said in the video, it cost me about $15 at, I can't remember now if it was Lowe's or if it was Home Depot. It's pretty good. It's got 2 pots, one inside the other. I don't know if you can see that well. Probably not. Yeah, there you go. And it's got this metal, it's a carriage bolt. Oh, you can see I've got it kind of filthy here. Sorry about that. But carriage bolt washer. You want the carriage bolt to stick down in here because this helps direct the heat up and into the pot. And it's got the circulation for the air. That air pocket kind of helps heat it. And then I use several of these tea lights. I tried another kind of candle, but I didn't like it. It didn't burn as clean and left me with a pile of wax. And that's probably okay in some situations, but really for this, you want something that's going to burn clean because you're going to want it to, you know, take up all of the wax so you're not left with huge puddles. And then I've got these little feet and I like them. I use them in between the base and the top. And then of course, you know, you have to have the clay base. You can see where I've used it a lot. But yeah, I've been looking into, there's directions, and some people have made grills out of them. So I don't know if I'm going to try that or not, but I've been really pleased with the terracotta heater. I was kind of skeptical, but I went up to see my daughter one day in Kentucky, and they had a snowstorm that I was not planning on, and I like to froze in the van, so I thought I would give it a whirl, and really it made a huge difference. Huge, huge, huge. I wasn't expecting to. So, Stellar Piper, whoa, backing up here. Okay, Stellar Piper says, sounds yummy, Amber. I tried a Pinterest recipe and it worked for dessert, I mean. And Amber says, Gayle, we go to Allied Foods. We buy restaurant grade food there. It's about 25 minutes south of us. That's good. And Mrs. Samantha says, I watched many videos about it. Those are good. That's how I'd heard about them, but watching the videos, I learned a lot. So, but yeah, now one thing that they don't cover well in the videos about the terracotta heater is that it takes forever. You know, think about how long a gas grill takes, and I'm sorry, a charcoal grill takes, as opposed to like a gas grill. And you can see that it takes a while. But, you know, once it gets up there, it keeps the heat going. We also have a little buddy heater, and I love it. But with the most recent configuration of the van, we don't really have space for me to feel comfortable using a Mr. Buddy heater. So I use the terracotta pots. I've really liked it. Amber and John says, there are deals, are cheap. The beef steak is special. You get 4 free steaks, and they're just as good as Golden Corrals. Awesome. Next time we go south, I'll have to consider that and look at it, because maybe I can buy some stuff frozen and bring it back. Stellar Piper says, I think Mom did one. Stellar says, next time we meet up, tag along with your mama. Stellar says, or you tag along with Mom next time she comes my way. That'll be good. Either way, I think you guys will enjoy each other. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to be going south. We're going to be coming up from the south, coming back from a trip in May. So I may have to look for the restaurant there, because we're going to come across Mississippi, Louisiana, and then I think we're going to come out on up north home, come up through Georgia. So now Amber, she's in Kentucky, so we don't get together too often, but we'll have to figure out something. So I always like going to see her, because I've got to repay her for all the angst that she gave me growing up. So I try to return that favor as often as possible. Am I doing good so far, Amber? I mean, Allie? Am I getting there? I think Stellar should give me, the next time we get together, I think Stellar should give me a flute lesson, and we should record it for YouTube. That ought to be hysterical. Me trying to play a musical instrument. Stellar says, between you and Beverly, I stay on my toes. But you like both of us, so that's what counts. Beverly being the mom-in-law. whom I just adore. Amber says, I so needed this chat. I got told this morning my sister lost her baby. She was 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks pregnant. Oh, Amber, I am so sorry. Let me write that down. If you're good with it and you think she'd be good with it, I'll write that down so I can remember to pray for her. Mrs. Samantha says, I'm going to drop in on some other streams. I enjoyed visiting. You have a nice evening. Mrs. Samantha, thank you. I'm going to come back to your live stream when I can. Are you going to be streaming tomorrow? And Mrs. Samantha says, I'm sorry for your loss. I'll add you to my prayers. Amber says she'll be okay with it. Thanks you, everyone. Okay. I'm writing that now. Because if I don't write it down, I'll forget. I don't want to do that. It's too important. And Amber says, thanks, everyone. And so, and Amber, if you want a fun stream to watch sometime, Mrs. Samantha's stream is really fun. So it's just, I like watching her get instructions from all the people she's playing games with. And sometimes when she, I don't know if you call it get killed or when she loses her life or whatever, then she always laughs. It's very sweet. And Amber says that would have been baby number 3. Okay. Well, I am so sorry to hear that news. And I will be in prayer. You know, I wish I had some magic words that I could say to make it better, but I don't, and I'm sorry. You know, it'll take time for both of you. Because I know you were looking forward to the baby as well. Yeah. And Stellar Piper says hug from Kentucky. The long distance hugs there. So, who says you can't do that on a live stream? So hug. And Amber says, yes, it's hard on our hearts. I already had plans for the baby. I'm sure it's hard. You know, it's always very difficult when somebody that we love passes away. And I know that in some ways the baby wasn't here yet, but the baby was here. You know, you just didn't get to touch the baby yet. And I'm very sorry. And she says, thank you, Stellar. Yeah. Yeah, it'll take time and love and support from each other. Yeah. Does she live close to you, Amber? Or do you have to travel far to see her? And she says, my sister started that. I can't talk. My sister started spotting 4 days ago and felt pain. She knew something was wrong. And then she says, my sister is 25 minutes away. I'm glad that you're close. Close in distance as well as close in hearts. Because that's going to help both of you. Because it's going to take a while. But if you think it'll help, let her know that we're thinking about her, and that, let her know that I have her in my prayers. And Stellar says that's not too far. It's true. And Amber says, right now she wants to be left alone, so I'm giving her space. That's always honoring somebody's wishes like that. To give space, I think, is the best thing to do. Up to a point, I'm sure that when you start feeling like she's more up to company, I'm sure you'll call her and go by and stuff. But that's tough. And of course, everybody's going to give you all the stories about people who they knew who had a hard time and then went on to have 20 dozen kids, and they all became doctors and lawyers, and you'll hear those stories, and lots of unwanted advice. And so I extend my sympathies for that in advance, because people can be obnoxious like that sometimes without meaning to. Let's see. I had something come up on Facebook. I'm just looking to see if this is a Facebook message or what it is. It looks like the last person maybe crossed the Iditarod line, which I know is not really what we're talking about on the live stream, but I think it's kind of cool. And see how long it took him to do the Iditarod here. I can't imagine what it would be like to see the Iditarod with all the dogs barking at the same time. Yep, it looks like they gave away the Red Lantern Award. Magnet's Calton Boom came into Nome after 12 days, 20 hours, 13 minutes, and 14 seconds. They crossed that finish line. And Stellar says, who won? It's Joar Leifseth Olsen. I'm really not sure how to pronounce it. I haven't heard it pronounced yet. But he won. Nicholas Pettit came in second. Mitch was in third. Ray Reddington Jr. fourth. And Peter Kaiser 5. Allie came in 15th. So there you go. Amber says, I think that the Iditarod is awful. Freezing weather burns. Yes, it does burn. But the dogs are well suited for it because they're bred for it. That's what they do. But still, any 1,000-mile race like this is going to be hard. But I think from after having Tomlin, with him being a Husky, he's not so much now, but when he was a puppy and a younger dog, he loved to run. And he would get loose and he would run for hours right around the house, just making huge circles around the house with our yard and the next door neighbor's yard and the field and stuff. But it was, yeah, he really liked to run. And let's see, does anyone know how to file a class action lawsuit need to sue someone? Talk to an attorney, and it kind of depends on what the situation is as far as whether or not it's going to be a class action lawsuit or a lawsuit just affecting a couple of people. But sometimes, depending on what the challenge is, it could be something that legal aid could talk to you about. But if it's something that's going to generate a fee, then you'll need a private attorney for that. So, yeah, I know a couple of folks in Chattanooga, and I can send you those names. And Amber says, my husband wanted me to ask. The names that I have for Chattanooga will be private attorneys, but licensed, I think, to practice in Georgia. Wait, I do actually know somebody, sort of know somebody. Let me see if I can get his thing up. You might be able to contact him on the internet. Let me see. If I can pull up his website. If I can, I'll post it to you right quick. Yes. This would be actually the best place probably to start. There is a website online that's run by, I think he's retired now. Let's see. He is an attorney, but he used to be a judge, but I'm thinking he may have retired from being a judge. And what it is, he has a forum online called the Personal Law Forum, and it's on Delphi. And he can answer just about any legal question that you can throw at him. But he's a former judge or a judge in Atlanta. So he is going to be the best place to get suggestions because he's familiar with Georgia laws. But he's also got a lot of other lawyers who volunteer their time to answer questions too, and they come in the forum. And Amber says, there has been other people being screwed over by the same company I bought a product from. We bought a car head from several people are having the same issues. Yeah, send him a message. You'll have to do a free account and then post in the forum. Let's see, Stellar says, I'm going to have to head out. Have a good night, all. Amber, you and your family are in my prayers. And Amber says, good night, Stellar. And then Amber says, your sound is messing up a little. Okay. Is it better now than it was a minute ago? Because it could be that when I was loading the page to get the URL address for you for the forum, it could have been the loading of the page that messed it up. Okay, Amber John Homestead Project says it's popping. Okay. Let me see if this helps. It may be my hard drive is running. So I'm wondering if it's picking up noise from the hard drive. We'll give it a second, and if once the hard drive quits, if the popping quits, then we'll know. While I'm thinking about it, let me go ahead and post this URL to you. I'll send it. I'll send it by Facebook message. Let's see. That way you'll have it. But this is the place that I would start because his information is going to be accurate and it's going to be free. And if he can't help you, he's going to be a great resource to get a referral from and to tell you helping out in that particular forum that may be able to help. It's going to take it a minute. Tell you what, I'll post it after the live stream. I'm going to have to go in a few minutes. And John sent you a link, and thank you very much. Oh, you're welcome very much. Hopefully this will help. But definitely it's where I'll start out. He can be rather pointed and kind of brusque when he's talking to you in the forum, when he's posting to you, because he's very aware that you may be answering, you may be asking the question, but there may be 10 dozen or 100 people that are going to ask the same question. So he may be a little short, but just don't take that personally if he is. So yeah, it is getting late. I've had a good time though. I've appreciated you coming in. And everybody else. But I'm going to go ahead and go. And Amber, I'm going to post that link to you on Facebook. So you will have that. I'll get that done right now. So there you go. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys all for watching and for being in here and for being awesome. So everybody, go outside, have fun, live bodaciously, wear crazy outfits, wear a smile, and just go out and grab life and live it to the fullest and just live bodaciously. And I will bid you adieu and thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all out, about, and online. So, bye.